happy birthdays as well. You always find the latest courtyard feminine solution. Out of the box.
Hello and welcome to Radio Waves by Todderbert. Today I'll be reviewing the Tecsun PL-380. I purchased this radio off of eBay for a total cost of $12.56 used. Yes, $12.56. When I won the auction, I was shocked by the price. I had been browsing my auctions and just to see if I would won anything recently, and this popped up and I couldn't believe the price that I won it for. And I was like, uh-oh, did I buy an empty box? Did I buy a bad radio? I didn't read the description right, so I went back to the auction right away and noticed one thing. The seller had misspelled Tecsun. So I had inadvertently, when I was searching for this radio, I searched PL-380 and I was getting results, and that's how I found this radio. Didn't even pay attention that Tecsun was misspelled. So I threw in my reserve, moderate. I figured I'd spend up to $30 for this radio, and it would be a fair price for a used example, a decent shape of this radio. So when I found out that it was $12.56, I was shocked. I was floored. And then it was the waiting game. Then I wondered, will the seller send it to me? Will he be honorable and send it? Most sellers in this situation would probably have canceled the order due to saying mislisted or something like that. It would be fair, and I wouldn't have complained. I just waited, and it came in the mail. So thank you, seller. You were an honorable person and pretty happy to do this, and now it's getting reviewed. So, all right, let's get into it. So yeah, always hunt eBay. Try misspelling words and see if anything comes up. You might be surprised, and you might get a lucky deal like I did. It doesn't happen often, so it's a once in a blue moon. Here's some icons. They look kind of similar to the icons we saw in the box of the Tecsun 310 ET that I reviewed. It's a pretty similar radio in all respects as far as functionality. But then there's some things I like about this radio that I don't like on the 310. So we'll go over those. All kinds of Chinese writing. AM, FM, stereo, world band, DSP receiver. Awesome. More Chinese writing on the back. Okay, let's see what he gave me in the box. So he had the original wire. Yay for that. It's one of those clip-on varieties where you hang it off of a, curtain rod or something, and then this goes to your radio, clips to the antenna. This does a fantastic job. Just like my Sanjin 21-footer, it pulls the same strength, either one. So nice to have that included. I think the box is empty. Yep, he said he threw away the earphones because he didn't like them. I've never tried the Tecsun brand earphones yet. I'll have to try them and see how they fare. Here's the user manual. It's a great manual. You'll find yourself going through it pretty quickly. I actually went through this one last night. Probably took me about 10 minutes just to go through it since I was familiar with most of the items. And it easily absorbed, easily understood if you've used any of these products before. First timers might take a little bit of work, but what you do is you just turn the radio on and sit with it and do what it says here, and you learn it real fast. So yes, definitely a great beginner radio entry into shortwave. So here, he gave me the bag. Speed this up a little bit here so we can get a lot on this video. So there's the radio, and we'll give you some dimensions. The length is 5 1/4 inches long. The height is 3 1/4 inches high. And then the depth is 1 inch. Okay, on the front of the unit, we have a light snooze button dedicated. This button is way better than the button you get on the 310. They give you a little one here, a light snooze button, and you can't even, you gotta hunt it, try to push it. So that little guy, can you imagine being half awake trying to push that? You never do. So that's one feature of the 310 that's pretty poor. Lock button, time set, alarm set. We have ETM, easy tune mode. We'll get into that later. VF, frequency mode. This VM is your memory mode. And then we have a word scan, and I'll explain what that does too. AM bandwidth, which also works in the long wave and shortwave. We have the numeric keypad, all your numbers. And then secondary function, FM setting, that sets your bandwidth, or the band select, if you're in Europe or Japan or United States. Here we have the 24 12-hour clock secondary function, and then the 9-10K step in the AM band. Down here we have the battery type, and we'll select that when we put our batteries in. Here we have beep off, because the beep is very annoying. I'm glad they had that. And then this function is a delete key here. Enter and delete. So power button, display. This toggles when the power is off, an alarm, temperature. And then when it's on, it goes the alarm, temperature, and clock. So it's nice to have that. This is your FM stereo button. It also toggles as a turn the light off completely, so the light never goes on. I like that because I don't usually like having a light, believe it or not. I have at night, I use a headlamp. It's pretty fun. I'll have to show you that sometime. Here we go. We got FM band select with the ATS, automatic search and store. We got medium wave, long wave button. And then we have the shortwave meter band up and down when you go to shortwave. And then we have automatic search and store and 2 different functions on the shortwave band. Here we have model number and some what it does there, all the bands. Okay. Left side of the radio, we have the headphone jack, which is really good. The stereo sounds amazing on this. Minimal background hiss, if at any. I don't think I've noticed any. Here's your mini USB to charge to the radio. I usually take my batteries out and do independent charging, but for those who don't, you just plug that in. On the right side of the radio, we have a tuning wheel versus the 310's tuning knob. I actually like the tuning wheel and tuning wheel. This is just very nice. With the ET, you have the tuning knob, and then you have a tuning wheel. So your wheel, turning, wheel. So this is just nice to go back and forth. As you tune, you don't just roll your hand back and forth to the volume, to the tuning knob. It's just very handy that they're the same. I like that. Bottom, nothing. The top, we have an antenna. This antenna extends out to 22 inches, rotates 360, has the indent, of course, so when you have it propped up, it'll sit nice and straight. In the back of the unit, we have the frequency chart there with your FM, and you can see the band 64 to 108 if you're not in America. Then we have the medium wave, the 9 and 10 step, long wave, which nobody uses here, and then the shortwave band. So then we flip this up, it's a kickstand, we get the little holographic sticker, serial number, and it takes 3 AA batteries, which we'll put in right now. This comes out pretty simple. I'm going to try to use newer end loops. So I don't necessarily think you need this strap here in this situation because they're not double stacked, but I'll use it regardless. Now in my 310 model, I had a problem with end loops not working, but this one, they're working. So I don't know what it is. I tried 2 310s actually. I sent one back thinking it was defective, and the other 310 that came in had the same exact issue. So there's our clock. To set it, you just press and hold down time, and you can spin the wheel here, and I think it's 4:25, so we'll go ahead and set that. And you can see it's got the temperature there. Okay, so there's our time, and you can toggle that to 24-hour clock, pressing and holding that. That's a nice thing. And the FM set was 64 108, 76 108, and then ours 87 108. And 9-10 step mode is pretty basic, 9 kilohertz, 10 kilohertz. Did you notice when you hit 9 kilohertz, it changes to Celsius up on top for temperature? There we go. Let's see, battery type. So I actually picked the right battery. So if you were using alkalines, you hit this one, charge off. So if you hooked up a charger, it wouldn't destroy your batteries. Right now it's in alkaline mode. As you can see, it's not reading it properly. So we'll go back to the nickel metal hydride mode. There we go. Here's the beep on and off. Oh, I remembered my setting from before. So we're going to go ahead and turn that off. Okay. We have a delete key, which doesn't do anything with the power off. And we'll go ahead and get this radio started and see what it sounds like. So let's go ahead and turn this on. So remembered my light setting from before. I'll turn that on so you guys can see it. So that this remembers it off. It's always off. Once you hit that off, even with the batteries out, it'll remember that you had that light off, which is nice. But for this review, I guess I can just turn the light on permanently by pressing and holding light. So now the light's going to stay on for the whole review. There's this nice little amber side lit side there. You can see it. Up on top here we have the signal strength and signal noise ratio, and you can toggle that by hitting display while it's on. You have local time showing too, which is nice. A lot of people like to have that up all the time. So we're in the FM band. Let's go ahead and see what we can find. We're going to do a really quick ATS search on this, and I'm going to do this function for the FM, and I'm going to show you a few things you can do, and it'll pertain to the AM band too. So we don't have to do it a bunch of times and spend, you know, hours doing this. So just so you can see it done over and over. And it goes pretty quick on the FM. Shortwave meter bands, when you do the same thing, automatic search and store. If you want to do all shortwave bands, you press and hold the A. If you want to do just the band you're in, you press and hold B. Now the neat thing about this on the B is if you're in that special band you want to be in, and you hit this one and it does automatic search and store, it does not overwrite your stations in that band. But if you do the full shortwave meter where it does all the bands in shortwave on the A mode, it'll overwrite all your existing presets. So just remember that. It's kind of a nice little feature. Also, just like the ET, you get 100 presets on the FM, you get 100 presets on the AM, 100 on the long wave, and 250 on the shortwave. So 550 total. And that doesn't include the ETM function, which we'll get into. So here we are. We're on the station. And right now we should be in the memory mode. So when we tune, it'll tune our presets. And right by FM there, you see the little stereo icon. So if you had headphones plugged in, you would be able to hear stereo. So it sounds really good. So the station came in kind of crappy. I don't like it, so I'm just going to hit delete. So hit the delete button and hit delete again. So it deletes that, which is nice. So you can browse your presets like this, or there's a way you can auto browse. And to auto browse your presets, you press and hold the VM button, and this will start flashing, and then every 5 seconds it's going to go to a new station. And you're like, oh, I don't like that station, I'm going to delete it. So you delete it. So it's going to go to the next station. I don't like that station. Delete it. Pretty neat. I like this feature a lot. And to stop it, just hit the button.
From Feature Story News in Washington. Bush dynasty, who
Okay. So we get the idea. So what we'll do now is we'll go to the AM band by pressing this button here. So now we're in the AM band. And you know what we'll do here? We'll do a quick search and store on this. But we're going to do the ETM function. So say you're traveling and you have a bunch of presets already for all your local stations, your home stations, and you don't want to overwrite them while you're traveling. Go to the ETM button. What it does is it has a temporary storage. There's actually an internal capacitor that remembers temporary memory for you, which is nice. So it has an extra 550 memory. So this thing actually has like 1100 memory if you add the ETM plus the automatic search and store, which is just mind-boggling. They don't say it that way, but it's exactly what you get. So we're going to ETM. So it works just like automatic search and store. It's going to do this into a temporary location. You notice how there's no P there for the programmed. So it's in this temporary, and it doesn't get turned off. When you turn off the radio, it's still there. So it's a very handy feature. and you can browse the ETM just like before and everything else. And so, you know, like your memory mode, we're scrolling through all the ETM finds right now. Alright. Just get the idea of how this sounds.
5.9 FM.
A blast of Arctic air that engulfed.
And more and more.
Captain, let me just
By providing your information to these questions.
Alright, let's check out the far distance just to see. There's the volume, monitoring up and down the volume. Ah, music station, cool. Alright. I missed St. Louis, so now if you want to do direct keypad entry, hit the VF mode. And this mode here lets you directly enter in the station. So I'm going to enter 1120. It's not picking it up right now. It's unfortunate. Okay. There's also an auto browse function in the frequency mode. So if you hit this, it's going to search. And if you find a station that you like, say I like this one, press and hold the memory key, and it says it's full. So if that happens, and you're like, oh, I want to redo everything, you can actually, oh yeah, we press and hold delete. Let's see here.
You in a loony bin somewhere, and I was not in the loony bin if you're wondering. They just didn't want me to hurt. They didn't want me to go berserk and hurt myself.
Okay, I'm in the wrong mode. So maybe this preacher like keep me from doing. Okay, so memory mode. Okay, so now we're in the memory mode. Now you can delete. So we're going to delete all our memory. All, and then confirm it with delete again. Perfect. So now when we do this browse on the frequency, it's going to go ahead and browse near a station, and then you can actually physically just sit there and go, you know, when it gets to the station you like, you can go ahead and I'm going to save it. For some reason you like this, so you'll save it by hitting M, puts it right there in 1. See that? I like this one, I'm going to save it, puts it as 2. So I'm hitting the M button here. So that works on the FM and on the shortwave the same way. It's fantastic, I love it. So we're going to go ahead and turn that off. Again, direct entry, we're in direct entry mode so we can see if Zoomer radio comes in. Might be a little too early. It's about 4:30. Yeah, I usually don't get much until around 5:36. That hour and a half makes a huge difference. Display, I think I showed you that. Okay, so the shortwave, we'll go ahead quick hit the shortwave. So you can go up and down the bands. 16 meter band, it's showing you the different bands right there. And then to scan them, like say I wanted to scan the 60 meter band, just that band by itself, you click and hold this button, and it does an automatic search and store for just this band, which will be pretty quick. Okay, also one thing I want to touch on, I don't think it found anything. Just some static. Okay. And then here, if you press this one down, it'll do the entire, all the shortwave bands. If you press and hold the A button there. So it's pretty basic, but it works well. I get about a handful of shortwave, so I don't spend a lot of time on shortwave. I'm mainly on the AM. So we'll go back to the AM real quick. I wanted to show you that there's a bandwidth setting that helps you narrow signals down so you can pick up faint signals or get a broad spectrum on a strong station like this one. A lot of tone.
have 47 points, and they're a point ahead of the Blackhawks. The Hawks have 2 games in hand on the Dallas Stars.
So that function works on the shortwave band and the longwave band also.
5 points behind them, so there's it's there. It's right there.
One thing I didn't touch on is it has a sleep function. Press and hold the power button, turning it on, and you can scroll this wheel, and you can go from 1 minute, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 45 minutes, and then it'll should automatically tell you. And then there's a little sleep icon. So in 45 minutes, it'll turn off. And in the sleep mode, I guess it turned off my light. So since we turned it off, we'll turn the light back on. There we go. So that's a handy feature. I like that a lot. Of course, lock, alarm set. Alarm set can be set to wake up to your favorite station at whatever volume you pick, or a beeping mode. So, all right. I think we covered pretty much what the radio can do. I'll just kind of do some final thoughts because I've used this radio now for a few days, and I have been comparing it to my Tecsun 310. And I'll just kind of go over some of those features real quick here, and we'll end the video. So this radio, I think you can find it new for $46. It represents a great bargain. I want to start showing you the differences between the 310 and the 380. Okay. I like this looks more reflective of a screen. It's actually really nice and bright. As far as probably daytime, like if you're in the sun, you could probably still see it. But this isn't so bad too on strong light. Well, maybe let's see. Try to get that. Yeah, it's about the same. But this does have a more like a silver screen there, like a more metallic look. I like this display because it's just a little bit bigger and the numbers are bigger. I do enjoy that. Another thing I like about it are the buttons. The buttons are actually raised a little higher. They're easy to manage, and they feel more premium. Okay, when you're pressing these, they're more recessed, and they feel cheap. You hear that? It almost like double clicks. And they're harder to press because they're flush. They're more flush to the cabinet. That's one thing I don't like about this radio that I like about this one. Also, in the AM mode, this radio has a goofy sounding
my wife and I got married the year prior to that, and I remember in our first year,
see if I can do this
gas
here.
was up $4 a gallon, $3.50. It was something crazy. Yeah.
Yes, we reached the tipping point where people just couldn't sustain anymore, and the economy collapsed. And along with a lot of people's retirement values.
They found out what a DMO.
I don't know if you can hear that, but it's like making little like sounds, like buzzing sounds, like when you enter in a frequency. Do you hear that? I mean, it's there. It's not horrible, but it's there. So that's one thing I didn't like about it. It has a little bit of digital artifacts that come in when you're on the AM band. It picks up, and I think this has a better shielding on the AM, so you don't hear that at all. This has a bigger speaker. I do like this sounding. It sounds just a little bit better. And this has the shortwave and FM extension plug where you just plug it right in. You don't have to clip it to your antenna. Is there a huge difference? Not really, but this is just more convenient. Click and you're done, and you don't have to have the whip up at all. There's nothing hanging off the whip, and it just seems more convenient. That's one thing I noticed that I liked about this radio. Okay, so going back here, the 310 also is a better receiving radio on AM. This is more sensitive than the 380. I did notice that by a large margin. Not super large. They're fairly similar. It's just this pulls the signal out a lot better than this one does. And I opened this cabinet up and I noticed that this antenna is smaller than the antenna in the ET. So that's probably why. So, all right. Final thoughts and opinion. If I had the choice and it was either the 310 ET or this radio, personally, I would pick this radio. I love the fact that this is a true traveler's radio. This light snooze button was very easy to hit, especially if you require this radio as an alarm clock feature. You're really going to like having that. I like the ability to turn the light off. It's important to me. I love the keys being raised and easy to hit. It exudes quality. I love how they separated the frequency and mode buttons. On the ET, they made that one button over here, which is sometimes confusing. You get a double, make sure you're in the right mode. This is not confusing. You know which button to push and you know you're on it. So I do like how that's set up on this radio. So as a buy, with this being maybe $4 or $5 more than the other, go ahead and grab this one. They even throw in the antenna, which you don't get with the other radio. So you're even getting a bonus right away, and this does work well. For what it is, it's a small radio. It doesn't need much of a boost, and you'll be very happy. All right, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.